All right, folks, good morning and welcome to our first colored pencil lesson. Now, the only materials you're going to need for today are a blank piece of paper, a pencil, and colored pencils. So right now I currently have just 6 of the standard colors: yellow, orange, and red, and blue, green, and violet. We're not going to use all of these colors, but it's good to just have them around. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure my paper is landscape, like this, so you can see the longer side is on the top and the bottom. And I'm just going to divide this paper into 2 equal sections. So I'm actually going to fold it across, kind of like a book, just so I've got a section on the left for something we're going to do later and a section on the right. All right. Now, on the right side of our paper, we're going to write down the names of the 3 colored pencil techniques we're going to learn. So copy how I set this up. Let me zoom in just a little bit for us there. So at the very top of the right side, I'm just going to write the word dark outline. Leave a little space, and then I'm going to write same direction. All right, same direction, leave a little space, and I'm going to write light to dark. And then I'll leave a little bit more space, and I'm going to write the word blending. Feel free to pause this, rewind it if you need to, whatever you need to do. All right. Now, before we get started, I'm going to choose a colored pencil and choose a darker color. So purple, green, or blue. I'm going to choose blue because it just seems to work well for this little part. And let's zoom in and let's take a look at the top now. So what I want you to do is with your pencil, nice and lightly, let's draw 3 shapes under the dark outline technique. So just kind of draw, doesn't really matter what kind of shape you draw. I'm going to draw a nice shape with sharp edges like a triangle, nice and lightly though. I'll draw a square or a rectangle kind of shape, why not? And then last but not least, I'll kind of draw a kind of organic shape. I kind of think it looks like a potato or something like that, but with some curves in it. And then underneath same direction, let's draw, let's draw a rectangle standing straight up. Let's draw a rectangle kind of pointed at an angle. And then for the last shape, let's kind of draw just kind of a weird blob of jelly shape, something like that, something fun like that. So we're going to focus on these 2 techniques first. Now, you've probably heard of these techniques before and even maybe have used them before. So this might be a little bit of a review, but I would still like you to work on this anyway. So for dark outline, all I mean by that is taking your colored pencil and outlining the lines that you drew in pencil. Now, colored pencils are very soft. Some of you guys probably recognize this, that they can break very easily and they can be challenging to sharpen again. So don't take your colored pencil and try to go like as hard as you can to darken the outline, but watch this, just practice going back and forth and kind of work on building up that dark outline. Rotate your paper if you need to. And it's just a really nice technique that I notice people using to kind of like separate the objects they're drawing. So just kind of go around each of these shapes and add a nice dark outline. Remember, you can't really erase with colored pencils either, so just do the best you can do. But there we go. That's the first technique. Now, the second technique is another one that I think a lot of kids might understand, but they kind of just brush past it a little bit. And so what I mean by same direction is when you start to color something, don't just randomly change the direction. Color the whole shape in the same direction that you started with. So like for this vertical rectangle, kind of like a skyscraper, I'm going to start coloring this up and down. So just hold my pencil nice and light and just up and down. And I'm going to want to color the whole thing in the same direction. I don't want it to switch randomly and go left to right, but same direction, like this. And you kind of have to just look at the direction of the object you're trying to color. So this one right here, you know, I could go up and down, but I'm going to color it at the angle that it is. All right. And then for the curved shape right here, there's a couple of ways you can do that. You know, you can, I like to actually kind of color in the direction of the curve. So see how I'm kind of like moving my pencil following this curve? I'm not going like up and down or left and right. And just kind of work your way. And you're gonna have to do some layering. You're gonna have to keep layering up your colored pencil a little bit. And, you know, coloring a shape like this is a little bit more challenging than a simple shape like this, because you gotta kind of have to just pick and choose, okay, what, you know, curves am I gonna follow? But just practice, you know, keeping it consistent, you know, the same throughout, because that tends to look really nice. And then this technique, paired up with the dark outline, can oftentimes look very nice. So go ahead and finish these first two techniques up. But just, you know, there are things to think about. You don't have to do dark outlines on everything, but a lot of kids prefer to do that sometimes, and it can look really nice. So those are our first two techniques right there. Coloring in the same direction and using dark outlines. So let's go down to light to dark now. And this is probably one of my favorite techniques to use. I'll keep using, I'll switch to green right now. But what I mean by light to dark is using a colored pencil to create different values. So look at this, with one colored pencil, I can create, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put it barely on the paper and just very, very lightly. I've now colored a light green. If I add a little more pressure, you know, kind of nice medium green. Let's add a little bit more pressure. Okay, and then even more. So with one green colored pencil, I was able to create these 4 different greens. And you can do that with just about any colored pencil. You can also practice holding your pencil nice and light and practice going from light to dark in kind of one swift motion. And if you need to go back over it a little bit and kind of fill in the gaps, you can. But with one colored pencil, you can create different values. You know, you might use this light purple for a haze over the ocean, or this dark purple for grape jelly on a sandwich. So go ahead and, you know, try this out with each of your colored pencils that you have. You don't have to use all the colors I'm using, but try making different values, light to dark, and see what happens. And just kind of like practice experimenting with that, because you can get some really cool results, you know, to create shadows or just different effects in your pictures. Even yellow, it might be a little bit tough to see. You know, there's a very, very dark yellow. And there's a very light yellow. So very different colors for very different purposes. And then the last technique I just want to like start to think about is blending. Now, we're going to cover this more in class on Thursday, but just for right now, go ahead and grab your green and your yellow. And let's say, for instance, you want to create kind of a more natural color. Like maybe you're drawing a field with flowers and butterflies. So, you know, you can take your green and just do a nice Put a nice kind of like light, not too dark, not too light green down. And then take your yellow and color directly over top of your green. Now it's not going to blend like paint, but it's going to now appear yellow-green instead of just green. So let's take a look at what green looks like. I'm just going to redraw green over here. So there's green. And let's put yellow over here so we can see what it looks like. So look at the difference. Look what we were able to create. This kind of new natural color. Okay? And you can try that with all sorts of different colors. Like maybe let's try green and blue and see what happens. So try in this bottom section blending different colors and see what happens. Like try yellow and red. Try yellow and orange. Okay, that's kind of a nice, kind of turned into a nice like aquamarine, like a teal color maybe. You can go back over it with green a little bit if it's, didn't quite work the way you want it. But that's a very nice color that could be used for seaweed under this, like a swamp. Let's try red and purple right now. And kind of make like a red violet color. It actually looks kind of nice. So there, folks, there's my 4 colored pencil techniques that I want you to complete on the right side of your paper. So the next step is we're actually going to draw a picture on the left side together in the next video, and you're going to color it using all 4 of these techniques. So the only thing you're going to need for part 2 is a pencil and the left, the left side of your paper right here to work on our drawing.